The stars looked different from the observation deck of the massive space station. Lily Martinez pressed her small hands against the clear viewing panel and gazed at the swirling colors of the Proxima Centauri system. At 10 years old, she was one of the first human children to ever travel this far from Earth. "Don't fog up the quantum glass, Lily," her father said gently. Ambassador Kevin Martinez straightened his formal uniform and checked the time. "The Senate session begins in 30 minutes, and we need to make a good impression." Lily nodded but didn't move away from the window. "Dad, why do the other aliens look at us funny? That big blue one with 3 eyes kept staring at me in the dining hall." Kevin sighed. It had only been 3 years since Earth had made first contact with the Galactic Confederation. 3 years of humans scrambling to catch up with technology that most species had been using for thousands of years. 3 years of being treated like curious pets rather than equals. "They're still getting used to us, sweetie. Humans are new here. Some of these species have been part of the Senate for over 10,000 years." A soft chime sounded, and the door to their quarters slid open. Captain Olivia Gray entered, her Earth Diplomatic Corps uniform crisp and perfect. Her short blonde hair was pulled back tightly, and her expression was serious as always. "Ambassador Martinez, the Arcturian delegation requests a pre-session meeting. They have concerns about bringing your daughter to the proceedings." "Captain." Gray's eyes shifted to Lily. "Again?" Kevin frowned. "My daughter stays with me, Captain. I've explained this to the Arcturians 3 times already. If they want to discuss Earth's family values versus their spawning pools, we can add it to the official agenda." Captain Gray nodded stiffly. "Yes, sir, I'll inform them." She hesitated. "Sir, High Chancellor Zexvoon was particularly insistent. He mentioned something about maintaining the dignity of the Senate chamber. Zexvoon has 6 adult offspring, who all hold Senate positions because of their family connections," Kevin replied. "He can spare me the lecture on dignity." After Captain Gray left, Lily looked up at her father with worried eyes. "Maybe I should stay here, Dad. I don't want to cause trouble." Kevin kneeled down to meet his daughter's gaze. "You're not causing trouble, Lily. You're making history. Every time these aliens see a human child learning and growing, it reminds them that we belong here too." He smiled. "Besides, I promised you could see the museum section today." Lily's face brightened immediately. "The one with the floating rocks and the weapons made of light?" "That's the one. Alan will take you while I'm in the boring meetings." As if summoned by his name, Alan Porter appeared in the doorway. The young, diplomatic assistant was barely out of college, with friendly eyes and a nervous habit of fixing his glasses, even when they didn't need adjusting. "Ready for duty, Ambassador," Alan said, then winked at Lily. "I've got the museum tour all planned out. They just added an exhibit on Earth animals that has the whole station talking. Apparently the concept of cats is blowing some alien minds." The walk to the Senate Hall took them through winding corridors filled with representatives from across the galaxy. Lily tried not to stare at the incredible variety of life forms. There were floating gas beings contained in hovering metal spheres, insect-like creatures that walked on ceilings, and elegant beings that seemed made of living crystal. "Remember to bow to the Zentari delegates," Kevin whispered to his daughter, as a group of tall 6-eyed aliens with translucent skin approached. "They consider it respectful when meeting new individuals." Lily bowed carefully, earning a surprised blink from the tallest Zentari, who then bowed deeply in return. "The young one shows proper deference," the alien said in perfect English. "Most unusual for a human child." "My daughter is learning galactic customs," Kevin replied proudly. "Indeed." The Zentari studied Lily with all 6 eyes. "I am Dr. Quillian, Senate historian and keeper of artifacts. Perhaps the young one would enjoy visiting the historical archives during her stay?" Before Kevin could answer, a booming voice cut through the hallway. "Ambassador Martinez, still bringing your offspring to serious diplomatic functions, I see." High Chancellor Zexavoon approached, his massive Arcturian frame requiring others to step aside. Standing nearly 8 feet tall with slick blue skin and 3 blinking eyes, he was an imposing figure. The golden robes of his office seemed to float around him as he moved. High Chancellor. Kevin nodded respectfully but did not bow. Earth protocol was clear. Humans bowed only to equals or those who had earned special respect. My daughter is here as part of her education. Zex Voon made a sound like rocks grinding together, an Arcturian laugh. Education. What could a primitive planet possibly teach that would matter here? Your species barely managed spaceflight a century ago. The rest of us were crossing galaxies when your ancestors were still figuring out how to make fire. Lily felt. Her father tensed beside her, but his voice remained calm. Every species has its own path, Chancellor. Humans may be new to the stars, but we have much to offer the Confederation. Yes, your music and art, very quaint. Zex Voon waved a three-fingered hand dismissively. The Senate session will begin shortly. Try to keep your offspring quiet. During the proceedings, the last time we allowed children in the chamber was during the Rigelian succession crisis, and that ended with slime on the ancient voting pedestals. After the Chancellor moved away, Captain Gray approached from where she had been waiting discreetly. Charming as always, she muttered. He's scared, Kevin said quietly. Scared? Of us? Alan asked, adjusting his glasses. Of change. The Arcturians have been one of the dominant voices in the Senate for 5,000 years. New species mean new ideas, new cultures, new ways of thinking. That's threatening to those who prefer the galaxy exactly as it is. The massive doors to the Senate chamber began to open, revealing a vast circular room with thousands of seats arranged in rising tiers. In the center was a speaking platform surrounded by hovering translation devices and communication arrays. Time to go in, Kevin said. He kneeled again to look Lily in the eyes. Be good for Alan. Stay out of restricted areas. And remember, I represent all of Earth. Lily finished with a small smile. I know, Dad. That's my girl. He kissed her forehead and then stood, straightening his uniform once more. Captain Gray, shall we? As her father and Captain Gray entered the Senate chamber, Lily looked up at Alan. Can we see the museum now? Alan grinned. Absolutely. I hear they have an entire section dedicated to ancient puzzles and games from across the galaxy. Some of them are supposed to be impossible to solve. Nothing's impossible, Lily said confidently as they walked away from the Senate chamber. That's what Dad always says. She had no idea how those simple words would change the course of galactic history before the day was over. The museum section of the Senate station was unlike anything Lily had ever seen. Glass cases filled with strange objects lined the walls. Some items floated in mid-air without any visible support. Others changed color or shape as she watched. Alien writing appeared on small screens beside each display, with Earth English translations underneath. This is so cool, Lily whispered as she stared at what looked like a book made of living metal, its pages turning by themselves. Alan Porter smiled at her excitement. The Senate Museum holds treasures from over 10,000 worlds. Some of these artifacts are older than human civilization. He checked his tablet. The Earth section is small but growing. Want to see it? Lily nodded, but her attention was already drifting toward a door at the far end of the hall. Unlike the other entrances, this one glowed with a soft blue light around its edges. A sign in multiple languages warned, "Restricted area, authorized personnel only." What's in there? She asked. Alan glanced at the door and shook his head. That's the special collections area. They keep the most valuable and dangerous artifacts. There. Definitely off limits to us. Dangerous how? Lily asked, her curiosity growing. Some ancient technologies are still poorly understood, a new voice said. They turned to see Dr. Quillian, the six-eyed Zentari historian they had met earlier. His translucent skin seemed to glow faintly in the museum lighting. Many items were created by species now extinct, their knowledge lost to time. Alan straightened, his posture. Dr. Quillian, sir, we were just touring the public exhibits. I see. All six of the historian's eyes blinked in sequence. Perhaps you would allow me to show the young human something special? It is rare to see offspring in these halls, and I find her interest refreshing. Before Alan could respond, a soft alarm sounded throughout the museum. Display screens flickered, showing the Senate chamber where an argument appeared to be underway. "I need to check on this," Alan said, looking worried. "Ambassador Martinez may need support. Dr. Quillian, would you mind watching Lily for just a few minutes?" The Zentari moved two of his long arms in what seemed like a gesture of agreement. "The young one will be safe in my care." As Alan hurried away, Lily looked up at the tall alien. "Are you really in charge of all these old things?" "Indeed, young human. I have been Senate historian for over 200 of your Earth years." Lily's eyes widened. "You're 200 years old?" 273 to be precise. Quite young for a Zentari. Dr. Quillian's head tilted slightly. "Would you like to see something few beings in the galaxy have witnessed?" Without waiting for an answer, he placed one long finger against a hidden panel beside the restricted door. The blue glow intensified. Then the door slid open silently. Dr. Quillian gestured for Lily to follow him inside. The room beyond was small and darkly lit, with just one object in its center. Floating above a pedestal was what looked like a crystal cube about the size of a soccer ball. As Lily approached, she could see it wasn't exactly a cube. Its shape seemed to shift slightly, with pieces rotating and sliding in complex patterns. "This is the Vorpal Enigma," Dr. Quillian said softly. "Created by the precursors who seeded life throughout our galaxy before vanishing 50,000 years ago." The crystal puzzle rotated slowly in midair. Inside, Lily could see patterns of light moving like tiny stars and planets. "What's it for?" she asked. Dr. Quillian's 6 eyes blinked rapidly. "No one knows. It has been studied by the finest minds of every advanced species for over 20,000 years. The theory is that solving the puzzle would reveal precursor knowledge, but no one has ever been able to determine how to solve it." Lily stared at the puzzle, fascinated by the way light played through its crystalline surface. "It looks like Grandma's kaleidoscope," she said. "Kaleidoscope?" The alien seemed unfamiliar with the word. "It's a toy with mirrors and colored pieces. Inside, when you turn it, you see different patterns." Lily stepped closer to the pedestal. "The patterns in this look like they make music." Dr. Quillian tilted his head. "Music? I don't understand." "The way the lights move," Lily explained. "They move like notes in a song, up and down, fast and slow. Like music you can see instead of hear." As Lily spoke, something strange happened. The crystal puzzle began to glow brighter, its inner light pulsing gently as if responding to her voice. "Most unusual," Dr. Quillian whispered. "The Enigma has never reacted this way before." Lily felt drawn to the puzzle. Without thinking, she reached out her hand toward it. "Young human, you must not touch," Dr. Quillian began, but stopped as the puzzle's glow intensified. The moment Lily's fingers came close to the crystal surface, sections of it began to slide and rotate on their own. Patterns of light rearranged themselves, forming new designs that seemed to flow like water. "The patterns are trying to line up," Lily said quietly. "Like they want to be straight, but something's blocking them." Her small hand moved instinctively, fingers tracing shapes in the air near the puzzle's surface. As she did, the crystal sections responded, turning and sliding to match her movements. "Impossible," Dr. Quillian breathed, all 6 eyes wide with shock. "It's responding to you." Lily barely heard him. She was focused entirely on the puzzle, seeing connections between the light patterns that seemed obvious to her. "It's just like finding the melody in music," she murmured. "You have to feel where the notes want to go next." A section of the crystal rotated, aligning perfectly with another. A soft chime sounded like a single musical note. Lily smiled. "See? That piece found its right place." By now the puzzle was glowing so brightly that its light filled the small room. Lily continued moving her hands near its surface, never quite touching it but somehow guiding the pieces into new alignments. More chimes sounded, forming what was unmistakably the beginning of a melody. With each note, the puzzle's sections aligned more perfectly. Dr. Quillian had backed against the wall, all 6 arms raised in astonishment. "I must alert the Senate," he whispered, but he couldn't tear his eyes away from what was happening. The door suddenly slid open. Alan Porter rushed in, his face flushed with worry. "Lily, you can't be in here. Your father is looking for—" His words died as he saw what was happening. "What in the world?" "The human child is solving the Vorpal enigma," Dr. Quillian said, his voice trembling. "The puzzle that has confounded the greatest minds in the galaxy for 20 millennia. Alan's mouth opened and closed wordlessly as he watched Lily continue to guide the puzzle's pieces. The melody grew more complex, beautiful, and alien at the same time. "It's almost done," Lily said softly. "It's telling me where each piece needs to go." The entire puzzle was now a brilliant sphere of light, its crystalline sections perfectly aligned. The melody reached a crescendo as the final pieces slid into place. Then everything went silent. For one heartbeat, nothing happened. Then, suddenly, a beam of light shot from the puzzle toward the ceiling, projecting what looked like a map of stars across the entire room. Alarms began blaring throughout the station. The voice of High Chancellor Zex Voon came over the communication system. "Security alert. Unauthorized activation in the artifact chamber. All Senate members report to emergency stations." Dr. Quillian was already activating his communication device. "This is Dr. Quillian, Senate historian. You won't believe what has just occurred. Send everyone to the artifact chamber immediately. History is being made." Lily stood in the center of the projected star map, gazing up at the swirling galaxies and planets now visible all around her. The puzzle floated before her, transformed into something new and wonderful. "Lily," Alan whispered, finally finding his voice. "What did you do?" She looked at him with wide eyes full of wonder. "I just helped it sing its song." The artifact chamber doors burst open as aliens of all shapes and sizes rushed inside. Security officers with glowing weapons arrived first, forming a protective ring around the room. Senate members in their formal robes pushed through next, their voices rising in a chorus of different languages as they saw the star map filling the chamber. Ambassador Kevin Martinez fought his way through the crowd, Captain Olivia Gray at his side clearing a path. "Lily," he called out when he spotted his daughter standing at the center of the projection, the glowing puzzle floating before her. "What's happening here?" High Chancellor Zex Voon towered over the other aliens, his 3 eyes blinking rapidly in disbelief. "Who authorized a human child to access the Vorpal enigma? This is an outrage." His booming voice echoed through the chamber. Dr. Quillian stepped forward, all 6 of his eyes focused on the Arcturian leader. "Chancellor, I brought the young human here, and I believe we are witnessing the most important discovery in the last 20,000 years." "The puzzle is solved," a Rigelian senator whispered, her feathered crest rising in excitement. After all this time, Kevin reached Lily and placed his hands protectively on her shoulders. "Are you okay, sweetie?" he asked quietly. Lily nodded, still staring at the puzzle and the star map it projected. "It was easy, Dad. The puzzle just needed someone to listen to its song." Alan Porter stood nearby, still in shock. "Ambassador, I only left her for a minute. When I came back, she was already... I don't know how she did it." Captain Gray scanned the room, assessing the growing crowd of alien dignitaries. "Sir, this situation is escalating quickly. We should remove Lily and discuss this in private." "No one is going anywhere." Chancellor Zex Voon pushed through the security line. "This human child has tampered with one of the most sacred artifacts. In the galaxy, there will be consequences." More Senate members continued to arrive. The chamber was now packed with representatives from hundreds of worlds, all staring at Lily and the transformed puzzle. "I didn't break it," Lily said, her voice small but clear. "I fixed it." As if responding to her words, the puzzle's glow intensified again. The star map projection changed, zooming in on specific star systems, highlighting planets with pulsing light. Dr. Quillian moved closer, studying the projection with all 6 eyes. "These are coordinates," he said, his voice filled with wonder. Star systems we know, but with planets we've never discovered. He pointed to a cluster of lights. This is the Andromeda sector, but these planets aren't in our records. A tall, insect-like alien pushed forward. Senator Vrax of the Taurian meritocracy clicked his mandibles rapidly. Impossible. The Taurians have mapped every world in that sector. Apparently not, Captain Gray said quietly. The puzzle continued to shift its projection, now showing what looked like structures on these unknown worlds, massive buildings and monuments unlike any known architecture in the galaxy. Precursor outposts, Dr. Quillian breathed. We've only found ruins before, but these appear to be intact. Chancellor Zexvoon's blue skin darkened with emotion. This cannot be verified. For all we know, the human child has broken the artifact, and it's simply malfunctioning. Ambassador Martinez straightened to his full height, though he still stood a foot shorter than the Arcturian. Chancellor, with respect, you've had this puzzle for 20,000 years without progress. My daughter solved it in minutes. Perhaps instead of accusations, we should be asking why. The crowd went silent, all eyes moving between the human, ambassador, and the towering chancellor. Zexvoon's 3 eyes narrowed. You claim a primitive species child has succeeded where the greatest minds of the galaxy have failed? The arrogance of humans knows no bounds. It's not about being smart, Lily said suddenly. Everyone turned to look at her. She wasn't afraid anymore, just confused by the adult's reaction. The puzzle wasn't hard. It just needed someone to see. The patterns is music, don't you hear it? The aliens exchanged glances. No one had ever described the Vorpal enigma in terms of music before. Dr. Quillian approached Lily carefully. Young human, can you explain what you mean by hearing the puzzle? Lily pointed to the patterns of light inside the crystal structure. The way the lights move up and down, fast and slow. It's like notes in a song. When they line up right, they make a nice sound. When they're wrong, the song sounds bad. The Centauri historian's eyes widened. Synesthesia, he whispered. The ability to experience one sense as another. Some humans can see sounds or hear colors. Could it be so simple? Could the precursors have designed the puzzle to be solved through sensory perception that most advanced species have evolved beyond? A new section of the star map began to glow brighter than the rest. The puzzle emitted a series of chimes, forming a complex melody that filled the chamber, and then a voice spoke. It wasn't coming from any of the aliens or humans in the room. It emanated from the puzzle itself, speaking simultaneously in every language known to the gathered species. Authentication complete. Inheritor identified. Archive access granted. The whole room gasped. Captain Gray instinctively moved closer, to Lily and the ambassador, her hand moving to her weapon. What does this mean? Ambassador Martinez asked, looking at Dr. Quillian. The historian's 6 eyes were blinking rapidly. The precursors left this puzzle as a test, a key to unlock their knowledge, and your daughter has been deemed worthy to access it. Chancellor Zexavoon shook his massive head. This is unacceptable. Humans have been part of galactic society for merely 3 years. They cannot be the inheritors of precursor knowledge. The voice from the puzzle spoke again. Species designation is irrelevant. The test measures perception, intuition, and creative understanding. These qualities have been found in the young inheritor. Lily looked up at her father, unsure what to do. He squeezed her shoulder reassuringly. What happens now? Ambassador Martinez asked the room at large. Dr. Quillian stepped forward. If the legends are true, the Vorpal enigma contains the sum of precursor knowledge, star maps to worlds we've never discovered, technology beyond our current understanding, the history of the galaxy before recorded time. His voice trembled with excitement, and it has chosen a human child as its inheritor. Senator Vrax clicked, his mandibles angrily. This cannot stand. The Taurian meritocracy has studied the precursors for thousands of years. If anyone should access their knowledge, it should be us. Other senators began shouting their own claims. The chamber erupted into chaos as centuries-old rivalries and ambitions boiled to the surface. Captain Gray leaned toward the ambassador. Sir, this is getting dangerous. We need to get Lily out of here. Before Ambassador Martinez could respond, the puzzle emitted a pulse of light that swept through the chamber. Everyone fell silent as the voice spoke once more. The archive does not recognize authority by age, technology level, or galactic standing. The inheritor has been chosen through proven ability. The human child Lily Martinez now has access to the Precursor Knowledge Archive. The star map suddenly expanded, filling the entire chamber with swirling galaxies, planets, and structures that no living being had ever seen before. At the center of it all stood Lily, her small face filled with wonder as the stars of the universe spun around her. Even Chancellor Zex Voon was speechless now, his 3 eyes wide with astonishment. Dr. Quillian moved to stand beside Lily. "Young human," he said softly. "I believe you are about to change the course of galactic history." Time seemed to stop in the artifact chamber. The star map continued to spin around them, showing worlds and structures no living being had seen before. Lily stood in the center, her eyes wide with wonder as the puzzle floated in front of her, glowing with inner light. "Dad," she whispered. "The puzzle wants to tell us something important." Ambassador Martinez knelt beside his daughter. "What is it trying to say, Lily?" Before she could answer, the puzzle's light formed into a shape above them. It looked like a tall, slender being with 4 arms and a head that seemed too large for its body. Though the figure was made only of light, everyone in the room felt a strange sense of recognition, as if they were seeing an ancestor whose face they somehow remembered. "A precursor," Dr. Quillian breathed. "The first true image we have ever seen of them." The light figure began to speak, its voice resonating not just through the air but somehow inside everyone's mind, translating instantly into a language each person could understand. "Greetings, inheritors. I am Guardian, an archive of precursor, knowledge created before our transcendence. If you are receiving this message, one among you has demonstrated the balance of logic and intuition necessary to access our legacy." The chamber was completely silent. Even Chancellor Zex Voon stood motionless, his 3 eyes fixed on the light being. 50,000 years ago, the precursor civilization reached its peak. We had mastered travel between stars, extended life, and reshaped worlds to our needs. But we found ourselves at a crossroads. Most of our kind chose to evolve beyond physical form, merging consciousness with the fabric of space-time itself. The star map shifted, showing the precursor civilizations' rise and eventual transformation into pure energy. Before departing, we seeded the galaxy with life and left behind tests, puzzles that could only be solved by species who maintained the delicate balance between analytical thinking and creative intuition. Species who might one day follow our path. Ambassador Martinez looked at his daughter with new understanding. That's why Lily could solve it. She saw patterns as music, connecting logic and creativity. Guardian continued. The young one succeeded because her mind had not yet been trained to ignore certain types of perception. Most advanced species evolve toward pure logic, losing the creative intuition necessary to see the puzzle's true nature. Senator Vrax stepped forward, his insect-like form trembling with indignation. "Impossible. The Taurians have the most advanced analytical minds in the galaxy. Our logic is perfect." "And therein lies your limitation," Guardian replied gently. "Perfect logic without intuition is like a star without planets, powerful but ultimately alone. The Vorpal Enigma was designed to identify minds that balance both qualities." Captain Gray watched the crowd carefully, noticing how the alien representatives were reacting to this revelation. Some looked shocked, others angry, and a few seemed deeply thoughtful. "What happens now?" she asked. "What does being the inheritor mean for Lily?" The light being turned toward Lily. "The young one has unlocked access to the Precursor Archive Network. Through the Vorpal Enigma, she may now access the knowledge we left behind. Star maps to habitable worlds, technological insights, and the history of our civilization." Chancellor Zex Voon finally found his voice. "This is unacceptable. Humans cannot be trusted with such power. They are violent, unpredictable, and barely understand their own technology, let alone ours." Several Senate members nodded in agreement, but others seemed less certain. Dr. Quillian moved to stand beside Lily and the ambassador. Chancellor, I must disagree, the historian said. For centuries we have searched for the precursor legacy. Our advanced minds failed to unlock it. Perhaps we should consider what this means about our own limitations rather than dismissing the humans. The light being flickered slightly, as if amused. The archive is not a weapon, Chancellor. It cannot be used to harm, only to learn and grow. And it was not given to humans alone, but to all who are willing to balance logic with intuition. What do you mean? Ambassador Martinez asked. The knowledge is available to any who learn to perceive as the young one does. She is not the owner of this knowledge, merely the first to access it. She has opened the door for all species. Lily had been quiet during this exchange, still watching the star map with fascination. Now she spoke up, her voice small but clear. The song is showing me places, she said. Beautiful worlds where special buildings are waiting. Some are under oceans, some are inside mountains, but they're all sleeping, waiting for someone to wake them up. Guardian nodded. The precursor outposts were placed on worlds throughout the galaxy, nexus points where our knowledge could be safely stored. Each contains different aspects of our science and history. A new map appeared, showing dozens of planets marked with glowing symbols. Everyone in the room recognized that this was the most valuable star chart in the history of the Confederation, a map to precursor technology that could change everything. These outposts can only be activated by those who understand our approach to knowledge, Guardian continued. The young one can teach others her way of perception, allowing representatives from all species to access what we left behind. Chancellor Zexvoon seemed to deflate slightly, his anger giving way to calculation. So the human child is not the sole inheritor, but rather a key. A teacher, Guardian corrected. One who can show others how to see beyond their limitations. Ambassador, Martinez placed his hands on Lily's shoulders. My daughter is 10 years old. She's not responsible for teaching the galaxy. Guardian's light form shifted slightly. Age is irrelevant. Perception is what matters. But we understand your concern. The young one need only share her understanding. With those chosen by the Senate, they can then share with others. The room erupted into discussion as Senate members began debating who should be the first to learn from Lily. Captain Gray moved closer to the ambassador, her hand still near her weapon. This could get complicated fast, she said quietly. Every species will want first access. Dr. Quillian raised all 6 of his arms, calling for order. Fellow Senate members, this is a moment for unity, not division. The precursors have offered us their knowledge freely. We must approach this with wisdom. As the arguments continued, Lily tugged on her father's sleeve. Dad, I know what the puzzle wants us to do next. Ambassador Martinez kneeled down. What is it, sweetie? It wants to show us the closest outpost. It's not far from here, only 3 jumps away. The puzzle says it's important we go there first. It has something that will help everyone understand. Guardian nodded. The young one is correct. The Proxima outpost contains the Harmony Protocol, a method for sharing perception across species. It would make the teaching process much simpler. Chancellor, Zexvoon's expression changed. For the first time he looked at Lily not with dismissal but with calculation. A journey to a precursor outpost would require Senate approval and a formal expedition. Which you will lead, Chancellor? Senator Vrax asked, his mandibles clicking suspiciously. The chamber grew quiet as everyone realized what was at stake. Whoever controlled access to the precursor outpost would shape the future of the galaxy. Guardian's light form expanded, filling the room. The knowledge was left for all, not for one species to control. The archive will only open to those who come in harmony. As the Senate members began arguing again, Lily whispered to her father, Dad, I think we're going to need a bigger spaceship. 3 days had passed since Lily solved the Vorpal enigma. The Senate station buzzed with activity as representatives from hundreds of worlds prepared for a historic journey. The massive ship Harmony Seeker waited in the docking bay, ready to carry a delegation to the Proxima outpost. Lily stood at the viewing window in her quarters, watching smaller ships come and go. She wore a new outfit made specially for her, a simple blue and silver uniform marking her official position as Precursor Liaison. It was the first time in Galactic Senate history that a child had been given any title. Ambassador Martinez entered the room, looking tired but proud. "Ready for the big day, sweetie?" Lily nodded. "Is everyone still fighting about who gets to go?" Her father smiled slightly. "Not fighting exactly. Just very enthusiastic discussions." He sat down next to her. "The good news is that Chancellor Zex Voon has agreed that you and I should lead the expedition." "He doesn't like me very much," Lily said. "He doesn't understand you. There's a difference." Ambassador Martinez straightened his daughter's collar, but he's starting to realize that humans might have something valuable to offer the galaxy after all. The door chimed, and Captain Gray entered with Dr. Quillian. The Zentari historian looked even more excited than usual, all 6 of his eyes blinking rapidly. "Good news," Dr. Quillian announced. "The Senate vote is complete. 20 representatives will join us on the journey, 1 from each major galactic region. Even the Taurians have agreed to the terms." Captain Gray looked less enthused. "Security. Protocols are in place, but I still have concerns. This will be the first precursor outpost visited in 50,000 years. We don't know what we'll find." "Guardian said it's safe," Lily reminded them. "The puzzle showed me. The buildings are just sleeping." Dr. Quillian nodded enthusiastically. "The young one is correct. All historical records suggest the precursors were a peaceful species. They left their outposts as gifts, not traps." A new chime sounded throughout the station, the boarding call for their expedition. Ambassador Martinez took Lily's hand. "Time to go." "Are you nervous?" Lily thought for a moment, then shook her head. "It feels like I'm supposed to do this, like finding a puzzle piece that fits just right." The walk to the docking bay took them through crowded corridors. Aliens of all kinds stopped to stare at Lily. Some bowed respectfully. Others simply watched with curious eyes, tentacles, or sensing organs. News of the human child who solved the ancient puzzle had spread throughout the Confederation. When they reached the massive ship, Lily gasped. The Harmony Seeker was enormous, with sleek lines and glowing blue engines. At the boarding ramp stood Chancellor Zex Voon, looking impressive in ceremonial armor that made him seem even larger than usual. Ambassador Martinez. Young Lily. The Arcturian's voice was formal but no longer hostile. "The Senate has entrusted me to lead the security detail for this historic journey." Ambassador Martinez nodded respectfully. "We welcome your experience, Chancellor." They boarded the ship and were shown to the command deck. The 20 chosen representatives were already there, a diverse collection of beings from across the galaxy. Senator Vrax clicked his mandibles nervously when he saw Lily. "The human offspring looks well," he said, attempting diplomacy. "Is she prepared to guide us at the outpost?" "I think so," Lily said before her father could answer. "The puzzle showed me what to do." The ship's captain, a tall being with crystalline skin, announced it was time for departure. Everyone took their places as the engines hummed to life. Through the viewing windows, Lily watched the Senate station grow smaller until it was just another light among the stars. "Transit to the Proxima outpost will take 16 hours, the captain announced. "I suggest all representatives rest before arrival." But rest was difficult with so much excitement. Throughout the journey, various Senate members approached Lily to ask questions about the puzzle and how she had solved it. Dr. Quillian hovered nearby, recording everything for historical records. "You must understand," he explained to a group of fascinated aliens. "The human child perceived the patterns as music, a form of synesthesia that allowed her to see connections our logical minds missed for 20,000 years. Senator Vrax seemed troubled by this. "Are you suggesting the Taurian approach to knowledge is flawed?" Dr. Quillian's 6 eyes blinked thoughtfully. "Not flawed, specialized. The precursors valued balance between logic and intuition. Most advanced species have evolved toward pure logic, analyzing everything separately. We lost the ability to see larger patterns, connections between seemingly unrelated things, like seeing music in shapes," Lily added simply. Chancellor Zex Voon, who had been listening quietly, spoke up. If the precursors valued this balance so highly, why did they not simply tell us? Why leave puzzles that went unsolved for millennia? They needed to find minds that still had that balance naturally, Ambassador Martinez suggested. If they had explained it, we might have tried to force ourselves to think that way without truly understanding. The journey continued with discussions and debates. Some representatives were excited about the potential discoveries ahead. Others worried about how precursor knowledge might change the balance of power in the galaxy. Through it all, Lily mostly listened, occasionally answering questions about how the puzzle had felt to her. Finally, the announcement came. Approaching Proxima Outpost. All representatives to the command deck. They gathered at the viewing windows as the ship slowed. Before them was a small blue-green moon orbiting a gas giant. It looked ordinary until the captain adjusted the sensors. Detecting massive energy signatures beneath the surface gain, the officer reported. Structures covering nearly 30% of the moon. The Harmony Seeker descended through wispy clouds. As they got closer, enormous shapes became visible beneath. The surface of vast oceans. Geometric patterns that could only be artificial. The buildings are underwater, Lily said. Just like the puzzle showed me. The ship landed on a small island, the only visible landmass on the water world. As the engines powered down, a section of the ground slid open, revealing a path that led underground. The outpost is welcoming us, Dr. Quillian whispered in awe. Chancellor Zexvoon gestured to his security team. We will proceed with caution. The human child will remain protected at all times. They disembarked, stepping onto the surface of a world untouched for 50,000 years. The air was breathable but had a strange, sweet scent. The pathway glowed softly, guiding them into the earth. As they descended, the tunnel opened into an enormous chamber filled with technology beyond anything they had seen before. In the center stood a crystalline structure similar to the Vorpal Enigma, but much larger. The Harmony Protocol, Lily said, walking toward it as if drawn by an invisible force. The crystal began to glow as she approached. Patterns of light swirled inside it, forming into the now familiar shape of Guardian. Welcome, inheritors, the light being said. You have taken the first step toward understanding. Chancellor Zexvoon stepped forward. We have brought representatives from across the galaxy as you requested. What is this Harmony Protocol? Guardian's light form expanded, filling the chamber with a gentle radiance. It is not enough to be told how to perceive. You must experience it directly. The light being turned to Lily. The young one will guide you. Lily approached the crystal without fear. As she touched its surface, it began to play the same musical tones they had heard when she solved the puzzle. The patterns inside shifted and danced. I can show them how to see the music, Lily said confidently, her small hands moving across the crystal's surface as if playing an instrument. The chamber filled with light and sound. The 20 representatives, the security team, Dr. Quillian, Captain Gray, Ambassador Martinez, and Chancellor Zexvoon, all found themselves surrounded by swirls of color that somehow transformed into musical notes as they watched. This is how Lily sees the world, Guardian explained as the patterns moved around them. The Harmony Protocol allows you to share her perception temporarily. One by one, the aliens began to understand. Senator Vrax's mandibles clicked in excitement as he pointed to a pattern. I see it now. The connection between the light and sound. It was always there, but I never noticed. Chancellor Zexvoon stood perfectly still, his 3 eyes wide with wonder. For perhaps the first time in his long life, the Arcturian was speechless. Ambassador Martinez watched with pride as his daughter showed the assembled leaders of the galaxy how to see the world through new eyes. In solving one ancient puzzle, she had helped bridge the gap between logical analysis and creative intuition that had limited so many advanced species. As the patterns danced around them, revealing connections and possibilities that had been invisible before, one thing became clear to everyone present. The future of the galaxy would never be the same, and it all began because a human child saw music in the stars.